Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at Chipotle, Ulta, Nvda, Tesla, Gilead, Ibb, and MCD. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly time frames, and we use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So yesterday, Ackman takes a 9.9% position in Chipotle. We get a gap up above the trend line here, and the trend line just goes back right here. We were keeping that in there just to see. We had a nice retrace, came back into this moving averages, and then pop goes the weasel. I think we almost filled the gap here, but if we didn't, we still have a gap fill here in the high pivot around 443.73. If you are bullish, you want to see some consolidation, and then you can possibly continue up. If you're bearish, you want to see this thing come down, get below this trend line, and start moving to the moving averages, and then slowly just break down. But right now, we're waiting for pattern to see where this thing's going to move to. Wild card, SPY, IWM, Q start to dump. Everything's going down regardless. We're in the time frame that can happen, so you got to keep that in the back of your mind, people. And this move up here on Bill, I think the sharks are going to come out and try to take this guy out since they know he has another large position in a stock like this that's all news driven. Weekly chart. Weekly, we're right back into these trend lines over here. And this is just connecting these lows, that low. It got below it, popped above, got below it, now we're above. This is a weekly close, so let's see if they can close it above it. If it pulls back tomorrow and closes below, I'm still bearish on Chipotle. Monthly chart, and this is why. Down, pops up, down, sideways. They're trying to recapture that trend line there. And this would be the 382 retrace coming back up. This is a monthly close, so we still have 3 weeks before it closes. So we have to reevaluate this chart in the coming weeks. Let's look at Ulta. This one keeps moving down, and on the daily chart we have a bearish inside bar. This is ugly with these curling down into price. Eventually, if this continues to consolidate sideways, or maybe it pops up and goes sideways, these will curl down into price, and that will send this one lower. If you are bullish on this one, you want to see this pop up, retrace, get above the moving averages, and continue up. But you're still going to have massive resistance up in this area, this area. You got a big breakdown bar. You had everybody buying the dip coming down in here thinking, oh, this thing had good earnings. It's going to pop up. And then they just slammed them. So you have a lot of bag holders up here thinking that it was going to go up. Instead, it went straight down. So that's what's going to happen here. So coming up, we'll have some resistance. I would possibly short this thing again up here and ride it down. But right now we have a great bearish pattern, and it's already starting to break down. If the markets start to go, we're going to 228, then we're going to fill the gap around 213, and ultimately we go to the 200 moving average, which we touched it in March, so that's a good possibility. Let's look at the weekly. Now the weekly, kind of the same thing. We had a nice big red bar, nice follow through, and now we're coming into a 20 MA, which can possibly hold this thing up a little bit, right around 241.50. We haven't hit it yet, but there's a good possibility we will. I still like the gap window right around the 228.79. It's also a 382 on the weekly chart. So you have great support at that window. If that does not hold up, like I said on the daily, we're going right back to the 213.65. And then ultimately, which is actually like the 5.0 retrace, which is a pretty nice area as well. But then ultimately, if this thing really starts to rumble, we're going to go to the 200 area or the 50 MA right around 203. So watch that area for a quick bounce. If the markets still continue to sell, look out because this one will go lower. And then ultimately on the monthly, we had a nice reversal bar from the top, and now we're starting to reverse a little bit more with some follow through. Monthly chart, so we have a couple of weeks. We'll reevaluate this one on the monthly at the end of the month. Let's go to Nvidia. Another high flyer just like Ulta. This one's even worse. Daily, just chopping around above the MAs, just like the spider, holding it up. We did get below it. Someone popped it up, kept it above it, saved it. Let's see if we sell off tomorrow. We do have a micro bullish pattern with a macro bullish pattern. So this one needs to start moving up. If not, it will take the path of least resistance. First spot is 60.69. Next spot is 59.74. Then I think we're heading to the 50 MA right around 57.02. If you're bullish, you want to get above the 63.50 area and continue up with more conviction volume. You can't just float up. Unless the markets float up, this has a good possibility of floating up. If the markets sell, all these are coming down. This is another high flyer, just like Charter, just like Ulta, just like, what was it, Dollar General. And there's a bunch of other ones out there starting to fall like rocks. On the weekly Nvidia, nice bullish pattern. We have a little bit of tails on here, a couple dojis. So right at this point, a lot of times these great bullish patterns, they will fail. And if this one fails, we're heading down to 51 bucks. Again, if you're bullish, you need to get above the 63.50 area on a closing basis. And the following week, I want to see some conviction volume and this thing pushing this up. And this little volume here, I just don't see it happening. And we're right in that time frame where everything's about to implode and we get a nice pullback in the markets, in my opinion, of course. Monthly, just stretched. When you get this far away from the 20 MA, it has to come back. This is a monthly chart. It will take a little time, but eventually it will stair step, stair step, stair step, and then just start falling. Next thing you know, this is curling up. Next thing you know, it's a $45 stock. Then I'd possibly be a buyer. That is a nice retrace area right in there. But actually 53 or 55.73, 50 bucks, and 44 if this thing comes falling down. Let's get right into Tesla, everyone's favorite stock. Elon, what a genius. He gets everyone to give him all this money, and now he's going to a bank trying to get a $300 million loan. He blows up a rocket. He tells everyone it's okay. This guy's genius, and everyone's still like, oh my gosh, he's the best thing ever. I agree with him. He's building electric cars, great for the environment, but there's more electric cars that are coming out. Mercedes, Beamers, the Volts, and the Leaf, and all this other stuff. So how good of a company it is, I don't know. We'll find out in the future. But to me, it feels like a scam. But anyways, Tesla. So we went up, retraced, came right back in the double bottom. If double bottom gives out, we're going to 187.87. If you're bullish, you need to come in, fill this gap, get above this area. And even if we get up, if we happen to get back up to the 220, 225 area, it's a full-on short again. Unless the markets are catching a bid, then this one could possibly move up. Again, a news-driven stock, ugly, ugly sell-off. It is due for a bounce, but this could have been it. Back to the retrace, and then boom, we're going straight back down. So if you're trying to trade this thing or buying the dips, wait for 187.87. Then maybe get interested. Because if the markets start dumping, we're going to 181, 166, 155. Ultimately, on the weekly, you can see a little bit better. You have a gap window down here or a gap fill. You have this big trend line coming here, connecting those lows, and that is right around 151, 152. But we first have to see how it reacts around the 188, 187 area, and then we'll go from there. But this big outside bar here, if we get a little bit of follow through tomorrow, if we close below this low, tomorrow, it could possibly be on. And if the markets start giving up the gains, oh my gosh, this one is going to go down fast and furious. The monthly still, we're out of this little pennant. We're below the 618. And on the monthly chart, we still have a couple weeks to wait, but getting ugly, guys. I don't like Tesla. We were short. We already covered. But man, if it retraces back into this area up in here, I'll be short again. And if we get above in this area, I'll start adding here. Add the last half there, maybe use the 240 pivot as a stop out, something like that. Money management is critical with stocks like this because it is a news-driven pig. Gilead. Gilead caught a bid today. IBB caught a bid today. So what else can you say? You're still in a weak stance, below the moving averages. You're in this inside bar. They tried to push it up into the 50% retrace. We're into the 20 MA coming up, but we made it. We did close above the 382, so it is a little bit strong, but technically it's still in a weak position. Weekly, great inside bar. I would have liked to seen a couple more days of, or actually weeks of consolidation, then the move. But with this 20 MA curling in the price, this possibly moves up. This should send this thing down. If you're bullish, you're looking for to recapture the 20 MA, get above the 382. And then try to recapture the 50. If you can't do that or get above this bar here, then this thing's going to be in trouble. But right now, it's a weak stance, starting to break down. We did get a nice little bid. Let's see where it goes tomorrow. It will be a weekly close, and then we'll reevaluate this thing. Monthly chart, monthly not good. Inside bar, broke down, closed below this. Now we're below the 50 MA. They're trying to recapture. We will know more in a couple weeks, and we will revalue. Gosh, it's been a long day. We will look at this chart again in a month and reevaluate this thing and see where this thing could possibly go. That is Gilead. Let's go to the IBB. The IBB actually caught a nice little bid today out of the blue. Boom, shaka. So we had 1, 2, 3 days up. We were actually $1.93, 0.67%, not the greatest. But you know what? You'd expect something. We came down, bounced around, chopped. Not the best bearish pattern, kind of sloppy, just kind of slipping. Came into the 50 MA, into this support area. Boom, they bounced it up 3 days in a row, but we're back into the 50 or into the 20 MA. Let's see where we close tomorrow, or did they just pull it back and start to fall? Again, if you're bullish on this one, you needed to close above the 20 and confirm. Now we needed confirmation. But then I think we're retracing maybe 291 and then ultimately 294. Then I'd short this thing again if you're not short. If you're bearish, you're looking for this thing to reverse tomorrow, get below these MAs eventually, and then hit this double bottom, and then fill the gap, and then we'll go from there. Weekly chart. Weekly chart was looking ugly for a little bit. We're going to see this will be an interesting close tomorrow. But we're trying to recapture this 50 MA. They brought it below it. It looked pretty ugly. Light volumes kicking in. I mean, look at this. We're even lighter than last week. So that's the reason why this thing is pushing up on no volume. It's easy. It's easy to float stuff up when there's no sellers. We get a bid on the markets. Everything starts to go up. You get an overall, try to do a little short squeeze. But again, weekly close, we're looking for a close above the 50 MA. Then you're bullish. If you start moving down again, you're looking for a close below the 20 MA. Then we're going to start just stair-stepping down. Monthly, ugly inside bar, bearish pattern. If this pattern plays out, we are definitely going to the 207, 205 area. If this pattern needs to break, we need to get above the 20 MA, then the big inside bar around 327, 330. Then maybe if we get above that, I think that will be a miracle. But if it does, then we're probably heading back to maybe 350, maybe this high pivot, but you know, one step at a time. We'll have to stick a retrace from here to here. This is a monthly chart, so we have a couple more weeks for this one to close to reevaluate. Let's get into McDonald's. That will be the last one of the day, and I am going to be done. Daily chart. And this was classic. You know, I'm short this one. We covered it. We've done it over and over and over and over. You know, we took it here, shorted, covered, took it there. This one bearish pattern came in. Now we had a nice bearish pattern, but then they popped it up. $3. I don't even know. Maybe they had garlic fries or testing, or maybe the breakfast sandwiches or something. But look at that. They came in, did a massive short squeeze, got all the weak shorts out, sent it down, 2 days down. We get below the 20 MA. We fill this gap. I think we're heading south from here. The markets start to sell, because everything's a market trade. The markets start to sell, everything's going down. I don't give a crap what it is. But here we go. We're below the MA, 20 MA. So let's see. It's in a weak stance. Let's see if we can close below this and get a little follow through and possibly get a little more volume in there too. Weekly, great inside bar. 3 days up. Again, they pushed it up into the 50. Couldn't get above there. So everyone who was buyers here, they got slapped. Came right back up, so those buyers become sellers. Next thing you know, they're trying to squeeze. Just the sellers come in, boom, right back down. But we're going to see where this thing closes tomorrow. If this closes down in here on a weekly basis, it could be setting up to make the next move down. Next move down would be 112.54. Then ultimately these pivots around 110, and then I'm still thinking $100. Monthly chart. Monthly chart, again, this one was stretched too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 months up, got the nice, this was a nice engulfing reversal off the top. Comes back in, they try to push it up, get all the shorts out, comes right back in. Now we're just kind of hanging out here. This is a monthly. I'm expecting at least 108.77 to the 50 or the 20 MA. Ultimately, if this thing starts to dump, you got the 50 MA right around 101. If you are bullish this one, you need to get above this pivot here, which is around 128, 129. And then you got to get above the high and confirm. Till that day, I think we're still coming back to this 20 MA area. And if we set up on a bearish pattern, we're definitely going down to the $100 mark. I've been saying that. I've been saying that since it's been up here. It's been a long, long time, couple months, 5, 6 months. But here we come. That's not a bad trade. 131, and it goes to 100. That's a 30% move. I'll take that all day long. So anyways, we have a half position. It is coming in. We already took off half, took some profits. So regardless, don't really care, but we're hoping it goes down. All right, guys, thanks for watching my videos. Hopefully you're learning something. I love this stuff. Been doing it for years. Again, John at StockBookie.com. Thanks again. God bless. See you on the charts.